Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Simon. In this video, I will show you how to actually sell high-ticket information products in 2026. I will show you why so many people are getting it wrong from the ground, okay? And the exact steps that you should follow right now that have helped us generate around nearly $500,000 in the last 4 months across various different client accounts in the trading niche, in the e-commerce niche, in the Amazon FBA niche, in the AI agency niche, in the AI apps niche, nearly everywhere, okay? I will show you the exact steps that you should follow right now with your coaching or business to scale your high-ticket information product, okay? Now look, basically, so many people are getting wrong, and there are 6 steps that you should maybe follow. It's skill selection, avatar acquisition, paid ads mastery, funnel selection, backend selling system sales, and then obviously the last step as kind of a bonus step, scaling with data. Now look, basically, when you're asking yourself, what should I actually sell? And probably some of you already got it, but you can still improve your offer. Then what actually happens is you should sell something that we call an info service. So info service is basically a combination of an information product and a service, okay? Now, the thing is that physical products require a lot of infrastructure, right? This is why we sell info products. And info, unfortunately, is getting kind of replaced by AI, and it's hard to stand out with information only nowadays. So you should create something like a high leverage, low effort done for you component, something like a service that can be leveraged for a bunch of different people. Okay, so something like a group consulting call is, for example, a done for you service. All right. Now, on top of that, then you should basically create your avatar for this info service. So who would benefit the most from your offer? Okay. Are there different personas that you can attract through the same messaging? So, for example, for me, this would be high-ticket coaches, but also biz-up coaches, consultants. It would also be high-ticket business owners, so something like SaaS companies, investment funds, or other agencies, other marketing agencies as well. Then obviously you have ICP analysis. What are the problems right now? What would be their dream outcome? Why do they dislike their competition? And how can you set yourself apart through a unique selling position, okay? And then based on that, create your offer. So always when someone has a problem, for example, the problem is lead quality, I want to create a solution. Let's say their problem is selecting the right ICP. I want to do a done-for-you service, okay, which I was talking about at the start, something like an in-market ICP selection. Or let's say the problem is content. I want to create a content marketing SOP. So basically, based on that, for every single pain point that a persona could have, you want to craft a basically a deliverable, which could be something like a course or an information product, and then some done for you services. Now, this done for you services, for example, for clients in the Amazon BizUp niche, is something like a prep center. It's something like access to the developer pool. Okay, this is stuff that you can do at scale, right? Stuff that you can do at scale that doesn't take you too much from your time, and that you could easily delegate to someone in your team, is something that you should select as done for you service, and then package it in something that we call an offer triangle with basically the highest offer price at $9,970, and then done with your offers at $5,000 and do it yourself offer at $2,500. Okay, and that's basically how it works. And in the done for you offer, you want to have the one-on-one consulting as well, personal DM support, and all the done for you services are in the done for you offer. And then basically in the done with you, you only have the one-on-one coaching without all the done for you bonuses. And then do it yourself, it's basically just info products and sometimes also group coaching calls if you want that. Okay, now look, basically then craft an offer claim. So a claim that concises your exact offer in one statement. Learn how to scale your high-ticket business report to record monthly done with your marketing and sales system could be for my mock offer when we would be talking about that. Now, the next thing is that you actually need to attract rich people. And so many people don't know that rich people hate income claims. Okay, rich people hate guarantees. They hate, I help you do X in T times. So the exact thing that Alex Hormozi has been teaching us doesn't work, because obviously Alex Hormozi, what does he do? Alex Hormozi sells books to a kind of low ticket price, right? Yeah, what was it when I bought it last time? You can probably see it behind me. Something like $29, and it's obviously attracting low quality leads. Okay, so this won't work for you. Rich people take risks. Okay, they want to invest. So when you move in market instead of mass market, and Alex Hormozi is targeting mass market, by the way, the better for you, right? Basically, in-market customers are solution aware. They're sold on an industry, sold on their problem, and sold on your solution, basically your business model. For example, let's say I'm selling an Amazon BizUp offer. They already sold on e-commerce. They sold on Amazon wholesale, ideally, which is the Amazon business model that I'm teaching. I just need to sell them on my product. right? And I need to sell them on me as an authority and on them that they can actually make it happen. Now, basically, this is exactly how it works. And then you have two different ways of traffic acquisition, cold or warm. And what you should keep in mind, warm multiplies cold. So you always want to do both. Warm content strategies is you don't want to go viral. Okay, viral will mean you attract brokies. You should make content that turns views into sales and gets them through the lead journey from I'm getting effed to what do you do? How does it work? What are the skills that I need to do that? And how do I acquire the skills? And then you want to have top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel content. So content that makes leads aware, that basically is an expert in authority content, and content that leads to direct conversions, handles objections, and sets the right expectations. Okay. Now, as content formats, you have something like entry-level content, which is essentially top of funnel, and mid-level content, and upper-level content. Now, the most important thing is also to run ads the right way. And this is why we have basically something like a quick ad masterclass in here. So ads are actually quite simple. They are based on the Meta Andromeda mechanism, and they're the exact same thing as doing a good reel. Okay. And you just need to keep in mind where you should film it, how you should look like, what you should do, and how you should sound, and what should you say to attract the right customer. For example, I'm trying to sell an Amazon business offer. I'm recording it in my warehouse. I'm talking about SKU. I'm talking about suppliers. I'm talking about my FBA system. I'm talking about an Amazon seller account. I'm talking about brand name products. I'm talking about listings, a buy box, and so on, right? So for example, look, Iman Gaji, fancy lights in the background, right? Watch here. Here, Jeremy Haynes, nice lights in the background, okay? Subtle lighting. It is the same. What might be, right? And then basically just a black tee. But Iman Gaji looks way more mass market with this kind of Star Wars background, and Jeremy Haynes is in market. Okay, then you want to select the right standard event. So we have standard events like view content, lead, schedule, purchase. You want to choose the standard event that actually works with customers. So for VSL funnels, this would be something like schedule. For webinar funnels, complete registration. Then you have direct response ads. So something like and different ad angles that you can then select. You want to have at least 20 to different video ads. So something like pain versus frustration. Are you tired of burning thousands on agencies that don't deliver? Uncertainty, all this new running ads has changed forever. Opportunity angle, case study angle, statics, and so on. Common KPIs, so something like cost per result, cost per click, click-through rate, cost per million. This is all stuff that you need to know when running ads. And then obviously these ads will enter your funnel. And in the funnel, you can either have something like a profile funnel, where you basically have your ManyChat automation, your journally, and a statement, and so on. You have some highlights to handle objections, to set dream expectations with live, and a lot of bottom-up content with results, and obviously use story for the founder's authority. And then you're going to have a lot of nice posts with authority, board authority here, flex content, some authenticity, some board authority with Elon Musk, for example, some middle of funnel content. And then basically your DM setter reaches out to people who DM'd you this word or who followed you and tries to set them in and book them in a call. Or you could either do it with a VSL funnel where you directly send leads from ads and basically overgo all of this friction of dropping off into the DM conversations, which is why I highly prioritize a VSL funnel. Send them to this nice landing page with a headline, a VSL, a type form, some student testimonials, and some copy. Okay, and then they can book in a call if they qualified, and then qualified leads gonna send back to this pixel confirmation page where you're then going to report qualified lead data back to Meta. People who aren't qualified will get sent to other pages. Okay. So this is how VSL funnel could look like for one of our clients in the BizUp niche. Learn how to build and scale a profitable Amazon business that runs in the background. Okay, exactly what I just talked about. And then obviously webinar funnel, exact same thing. You send them to the webinar confirmation page. Ideally, we want to remove the webinar VSL. We don't necessarily need it. Then they can register at the confirmation page and they have the webinar. Obviously, here will be a drop off. Okay. And then we can either go with a book call or a direct card webinar. If you're selling high ticket information products in the US or in Europe or in Australia or New Zealand, and then you should definitely go with a book call webinar, in my opinion. Establish massive trust. It's a live event. One of the best ways to convert completely cold and skeptical leads, right? And basically, this is how the webinar page looks like. We have now even removed this page. So we've got the headline, we've got the registration, we've got some urgency with the title, we've got agenda section, exactly what they're going to learn, a lead magnet for signing up, meet your host, and some proof, okay? And then obviously we want to make sure people actually show up to the calls, to the webinars, which is why we need something like a backend selling system. So on the front end, they see your ad, then they book in the call, and then the sale happens, and between here is what the backend selling system is. So actually make them show up and to pre-sell them on the close. So basically, you need to understand that people after the first touch point need more information to understand the value and actually complete the sale, which is why we guide them through first layer questions, second layer questions, objections, and expectations that they might have. So example, what is this offer? How difficult is it to implement? And then follow-up question that are more detailed. What's your process for creating copy, for example? I've been burned before. Will this work for me? Why should I trust you, Simon, for example? Aren't you not a course seller? By the way, I'm not selling anything, right? And then how soon can I expect to see results? How will I know this works for you? And your backend selling system crushes all those objections step by step by step between the prospect and the closed deal, okay? And then you want to have a confirmation page where basically people hit it with a headline that congratulates someone taking action, a thank you due diligence video, something like, yo, I want to help you do your due diligence before the call to see if we're actually legit. A lot of FAQ videos, client wins, and so on, okay? And this is basically how it looks like. This is for the webinar. We've got quite a similar one for the actual call funnel. As you can see, webinar related is this live, what if I can make the workshop, and so on. And you want to make sure your email, you're sending out 15 to 20 emails. This is our email open rate, quite sick actually, right? And you want to include sales assets, so PDF guides, Loom breakdowns, gather boards, and so on. For example, if I would sell an offer, I would 100% include one of these videos in my email sequences, and so on. You want to have Hammerden ads, so short form Hammerdams, long form, and so on. These are basically content engagement ads that contain nurturing content. And you basically show them to people who registered or book in a call. As you can see, we target people who have viewed at least 3 seconds of our video will be excluded, as you can see. And then we basically retarget everyone who has registered, who was a lead in the last 6 days, and we exclude everyone who's watched this video already so that they see another one, okay? And then obviously salespeople are one of the most important things in your high-ticket information product business. And we have setters and closers. Setters get 5%, closers 10%. A lot of people don't know how to hire. You can either do it in Facebook groups, you can do an Instagram post and do it with a type form or ask them to apply with a Loom, or you can directly hire from a community. We currently actively operate some sales communities for our clients, so feel free to reach out to me if you're looking for a good salesperson. We have a sales coaching network, and obviously also Jackson's job board where we can post in, okay? And then you want to make sure when you hire someone that setters need to be hungry, closers need to have the skill. This is what you should keep in mind, and all of them must be coachable. And then the best practices for a setter are the speed to lead, dial a qualified application within minutes, triage and qualified prospects, make sure the closers counter stays clean, dial unqualified leads to confirm the budget, the M setting using the ACA, so ask, compliment, and then no, basically what was it? Acknowledge, compliment, and then ask. Framework, the closer should sell selfie videos, iMessage text, send tailored sales assets, pre-call, gamma board, professional should have a professional email, manage the pipeline, do some follow-up, and 15 to 20% is in the follow-up. We do something like end of the day reports where we ask them for, yo, how was your calls? What needs improvement? How was the quality of the calls? And so on, to track them and keep them accountable, and so on. And you want to make sure that the closers are actually aware of your offer tiers, of the deliverables, of the advantages, of the benefits. So I provide them with something like a sales pitch deck where I show them exactly what kind of customer they're going to handle probably in terms of the ads that I've written, and I let them go through the entire funnel step by step so they understand who the person on the other end is and what they resonated with. So what VSL they clicked on, what ad they came from, and we track all this through our Airtable tracking system. This makes us different. So every week we do reports for VSL funnels, webinar funnels. These are the common rates that we see: webinar, VSL funnel 3 to 5 qualified book rates, then 70 to 85% show rates, 20 to 35% close rates for webinar funnels, at 40% opt-in rate. For call, probably a 30 to 40% show up rate. For warm, 60 plus show up rate. Retention rate 75 to 85, and book call rate something between 10 to 20%. And then we want to basically identify the bottlenecks, and we have something like UTM tracking. So we track the first and last touch UTM. So basically we know exactly which content, which ad our customer came from when they clicked on a video. So as you can see over here, For example, we have UTM source Facebook, UTM medium reels, UTM campaign spring sale. Example, this is not my UTM, this is just a random one. And then UTM content spring video. So for me, this could be YouTube, UTM content, 305K webinar when they come from one of these videos. Then we're tracking everything in a nice Airtable dashboard where we can see cash collected, cash for live call, total revenue, calls showed, calls no showed, cash collected per closer, lead sources, PIF, payment plan. And it helps us just to know what's actually going on the sales side of things, and also to know which ads are actually leading to sales, so we can then long-term scale and focus on the actual ads that are winning. Yeah, with that being said, guys, this is how you sell high-ticket information products. Kind of a speed run, right? You start with the skill, the offer, then the avatar, then the paid ads, content. You select the right funnel, which is working for you. Then you go with a backend selling system, okay? And you dial in your sales team and you scale with data through UTM tracking and something like an Airtable tracking system. Now, if you want someone like us to implement all this for you, then feel free to reach out to me. It's growinginfo.com to book in a free strategy call. Watch the video there to see what we guys have done in the past, okay? And then feel free to book in a call with me. Right, okay. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Simon.Asman there. I post a lot of valuable stuff there that I don't share on YouTube, so definitely do it, okay? And if you were new to this channel, be free to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. And I'm gonna welcome you back soon with another massive banger. So with that being said, guys, take care.